You're my budget guy. Tell me your impressions after combing through some of the numbers of what has been put forth by both parties yet to be voted on.
Well, first, let's be clear. It's a joke and a betrayal. It's the final surrender of the House Republican leadership to beltway politics and to kicking the can and ignoring this budget monster that's hurtling down the road. They're busting the caps, and it's totally unnecessary. It's going to add $70 billion to spending this year and next year, and then they're going to pretend to save it in 22 and 23, way down the road. They've not only kicked the can down the road, they've kicked it into low Earth orbit. It's unjustified. Let's look at what they've done. Defense with the sequester is $600 billion of outlays. We can easily live with that. Prior to the, Bush wars and invasions, we had $400 billion in defense spending in today's real dollars. 50% more, and they can't live with it? Do we have any new industrial state enemies in the world? No. Are there greater threats in the world? No. Have we been fired as the world's policemen? Yes. So why can't they allow the defense sequester to happen? They should. The House side. If we let the sequester happen and not bust it as they did, $580 billion of domestic discretionary spending. Bill Clinton left with $400 billion in today's dollars. He wasn't starving Head Start or the National Health Institute and all the rest. There's plenty of room, but they're unwilling to make the tough choices. Now, I understand Democrats doing that. The only hope of getting our fiscal situation under control is if the House Republicans stand up, and they've totally capitulated. And I think it is going to trigger an enormous negative reaction from the Tea Party Republicans, who ought to go after every incumbent Republican who votes for this abomination.
Now, when we talk about kicking the timeline, David, we're not talking about kicking it just maybe till the midterms. Why don't you tell the audience, in your opinion, exactly what this timeline really is?
Yeah, that's the thing. When you take a 2-year vacation on the fiscal budget, and that's what they're doing, locking it in through October 1, 2015, the end of fiscal 2015. A few weeks later is the Iowa straw poll. Both parties will be going hammer and tong into the presidential election. Open primaries in both parties, no incumbent. There's not a chance anything will be done about the fiscal equation, which is festering, until 2017. And if you get around to addressing it, you can't have an impact till 2018 or 2019. Now, who thinks we can wait that long? We have $17 trillion of debt now. Just by the momentum built in, it'll be $25 trillion after the next presidential election. When interest rates normalize, there's going to be an explosion of debt service payments. And what do we have? We have Paul Ryan, the alleged great conservative warrior, throwing in the towel and saying we're going to do nothing for the next 2 years except break the caps. Now, all of these offsets aren't real, and even the ones that are, like pension contribution reductions, should be put into deficit cutting, not into additional spending.
We have to wrap here. I am so glad you were able to come to Chicago and visit with us today, and I'll leave the audience with one comment. Young people were all for Obamacare until they saw what was in it. I think young people better understand what they are paying for and what debts will be on their shoulders now, so we don't have to wait till 2018 to address it.